Hey, Radek. Well, the conditions have been deteriorating here. We're at St. George Island, which is just offshore from Apalachicola. For those of you who aren't familiar with St. George Island, it's about 65 miles south and east of Panama City Beach. But here's the thing. I come and vacation here a lot with my family, which is actually what I'm doing right now. So when in Rome, the winds are whipping. I've never been here when the winds have been this strong. We've already seen some tropical storm force gusts of up to 40 miles per hour. But I want you to notice the landscape here with St. George Island. Now, here's the thing with St. George. Almost 2 years ago, they had to deal with Hurricane Michael. And when Michael came through, that had a storm surge of over 7 feet. So a lot of the natural dunes that were here have been washed away. So you don't have that. So even though it does look like Sally, the worst of it is going to be well west of here, you've still got a storm surge threat of up to 1 to 3 feet. In downtown Apalachicola, you can see the roads flood in the market at around 4 feet. But I want you to notice along this sand here, look at all of this seaweed that has come in. We were at low tide around 7:30 this morning, but even at low tide, the water was farther inland. But Hurricane Sally has been bringing an onslaught of tropical storm force winds to our area. Now, right now, we've only seen gusts around 30 miles per hour, but yesterday we saw gusts up to 43 miles per hour. I think one of the biggest issues with Sally is you don't want to get in the water. Look how far inland the water came overnight.
Tonight it's all about severe weather and your safety. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Barbara Goche.
And I'm Jason Dennis. Tropical Storm Sally making its way across the Chattahoochee Valley, dumping lots of rain and prompting cancellations like Muskogee County schools going virtual learning only tomorrow.
Same thing happening in East Alabama, Russell and Lee County school districts as well. More about the impacts on local schools coming up in just a moment. But first, Sally slamming Gulf shores around 2 a.m. with strong winds as a Category 2 hurricane. Here's some video from parts of the Gulf there.
You can see a significant amount of damage caused by the storms across Orange Beach, the Alabama Gulf Coast and Florida Panhandle. Definitely seen flooding as well as damaged buildings, leaving thousands of people without power.
Sally bringing lots of rain. News Leader 9 has crews spread out all across the Chattahoochee Valley tonight as we monitor conditions in our area. We have team coverage like only you will see right here on News Leader 9.
We'll get to our reporters in just a moment, but first let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid for the very latest. So Derek, what's our main concern right now and in the coming hours for the Chattahoochee Valley?
If I had to put the concerns in order, I'm saying flooding, wind gusts, and isolated tornadoes would be a distant third. So I know folks like to hear that at least, but flooding's the number one.
And we're talking over the next few hours, things really getting worse, right?
Yeah, we don't need to think that things are not panning out or it's over because we're just getting started.
But the real issue right now that city officials here in Eufaula are concerned about is the tremendous amount of rain that is expected from Tropical Storm Sally.
News Leader 9's Katie Cameron joins us live from Lee County today. And Katie, you talked with this hurricane survivor earlier today, so what did she share with you?
Guys, Emily Strickland was just 9 years old when she and her family fled from their hometown in Mississippi and came to Opelika because of Hurricane Katrina. She says though she was young at the time, she will never forget the strength of that storm and the power of flooding. And Alabama EMA officials are also urging you to call 211 if you have any questions. There you can learn more about storm shelters and road closures. Live in Lee County, Katie Cameron, WTVM News Leader 9.
Before we get to those specific impacts from Sally, let's talk about the short-term weather here in our neck of the woods. Tonight, this is when the worst of the weather is going to be moving in. The rain, the wind, and flooding will continue area-wide. We encourage you to stay weather alert through the overnight hours tonight. Early Thursday morning, the worst of the weather starts to move out. The heaviest rain ending between 4 and 8 a.m. Eastern time. The winds will start to die down a little bit too, and then things improve even more by Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. The winds continue to die down, showers becoming more scattered in nature, and we're not going to see anything that would lead us to any additional flooding concerns. Let's talk about wind impacts from now really through the overnight. 35 to 45 mile per hour gusts are possible across the Chattahoochee Valley. This could lead to some additional trees down and tree limbs, and we know that can lead to additional power outages too. I do think there is a place in parts of Macon, Bullock, Russell, and Barber counties where we could deal with a few isolated wind gusts, perhaps greater than 50 miles per hour. We're going to watch those areas for that even higher potential of some folks losing power. As far as the isolated tornado risk goes, the good news is we really haven't seen that pan out today. The air for most of us has been stable enough to where we haven't been seeing the storms capable of producing those small spin-up tornadoes. If we did see it tonight, it would be south and east of the city of Columbus, mainly in the yellow shaded area here. These storms very hard to warn for, hard to predict. Although they are usually small and weak, it doesn't make them any less dangerous. This is one of those things you want to stay weather alert for tonight. And the flooding would be another thing. We've seen already 1 to 2 inches of rain for a lot of us here in the Chattahoochee Valley. Parts of Barber County have seen greater than 3 to 4 to 5 inches of rain, and we've got even heavier amounts that are moving back in. We anticipate 4 to 8 additional inches of rain from now through early Thursday morning, and that's going to lead to more river and stream flooding and more flash flooding in the urban areas too. Might even see a few spots greater than 10 inches of rain by the time all is said and done. And down on the coast, they had isolated reports of greater than 30 inches of rain from Hurricane Sally. You see the storm here, the spin there, and the clouds and rain coming into parts of South Alabama. This is going to track generally right over the Chattahoochee Valley. You also see those bands of rain wrapping around the center. We call those feeder bands. That's where you're going to get some of the higher wind gusts and also some of those higher rainfall rates. So here's a local radar view of what's happening. Again, the heaviest rain near Andalusia, Alabama, back over toward Troy right now. That's going to be tracking into Barber County here pretty soon. So once again, a heads up in that area. That's why we have a reporter down in Eufaula. We think this is the county for us that will see some of the highest winds and some of the heaviest rains in the great scheme of things. And although it looks a bit drier down here to the south, remember this storm system isn't moving north. It's not going to bring that drier air with it. It's moving more northeast, and it's going to drag the rain right across the Chattahoochee Valley here in the coming hours. Here's our high-res futurecast. This is going to have a great look at what's going on. Those bands of rain wrapping around the center. We think the worst of it for a lot of us will come between about 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's when we're going to see some of those heavier rain bands moving in. The potential for some of those higher wind gusts into the nighttime hours tonight. But here's 5 a.m. on Thursday. You see that heavier rain in our northern counties starting to move out. If you have plans out and about early Thursday morning, remember we expect the winds to start dying down, the heaviest rain to start moving out with just additional scattered showers through the rest of the day. And we're going to see even better weather on Friday. The clouds are going to hang around, but I think the rain chances or rain coverage for Friday looks pretty low. We'll still deal with a few showers Saturday and Sunday, but how about that taste of fall coming our way through the weekend and into early next week? Highs in the 70s, lows down in the 50s. That is actually way below average for us for this time of year. Sometimes it takes a tropical system to change up the weather pattern around here, and we're going to get that into the weekend and next week. But for tonight, an Alert Center Action Day, we want you to stay weather aware near that source of weather information. Storm Team 9 will have the weather office manned through the overnight hours with more on Sally's impacts around here, guys.
And by mid-morning, early afternoon tomorrow, everything should be all over except for the cleanup, right?
Yeah, major improvements. Again, it's going to be a question of what was left behind. Will there still be some streets underwater? Will there be trees down blocking the roads? We'll have an idea of that, of course, with First Light tomorrow.
All right, Derek and Kate, thank you so much.
Reason why we're here, we want to check in with you each hour and let you know the progress of what's going on. The main concern tonight, as it really has been all day, flooding. And we think this is going to be the area of greatest concern in the coming hours for the highest potential for flash flooding. The absolute worst of things, stretching from parts of Russell County down into Quitman and Stewart counties. This band of rain has been responsible for high rainfall rates. That's getting a lot of rain in a short period of time, which has led to some flooding concerns. And we'll put a track on this for you as it kind of rotates through there to the north. It should be moving into the Columbus area sometime, we'll say around 1 or after 1 a.m. We also have a view from the Mobile Alert Center on the road, the MAC, driving up, I believe, Highway 431. And you see, again, the windshield wipers are on, the roads are wet, and there are some trees down in spots. So if you're out tonight for any reason at all, know that you could run into some high water covering up the roads, or some trees or limbs that are down.
So here at the station, we picked up 1.5 inches over the last hour as that strong band pushed through our area.
We're in the Mobile Alert Center on 185 North, about mile marker 14 or so here on 185. And the rain coming down in sheets, and when you get in one of these bands, it gets a little interesting. The wind starts picking up. The rain gets very heavy. If you're in a top-heavy vehicle in one of these, similar to what we're in right now, it feels a little rocky at times.
We're still seeing plenty of rain along the I-185 corridor through Muskogee and Harris counties. So if you can stay home, don't go out on the roadways unless you absolutely have to.